our panel is back with us, including Sir Michael Singleton, who rode his Ducati as quickly as possible to arrive with us. Welcome, Sir Michael.
Thank you.
So let's start with this Orban situation. High praise for this strongman hosting him at the club. Can you sort of, how do you view this as a Republican? What's going on?
It's not only the former president, but even the Heritage Foundation. They've also hosted him, and Heritage Foundation clearly a conservative, once upon a time academic intelligentsia in the same vein as AEI and the Hoover Institute. They've sort of moved more towards a populist nationalist sentiment. I think what you find when you talk to many MAGA supporters are that they do view the way Victor has sort of led his country as something that we need in the United States to sort of correct some of our errors, whether that's culturally, whether that's politically. I, as a conservative, obviously do not agree with that because I think there are far more better ways to disagree with individuals on the other side than having a strong man in power. And so I would caution the former president, because you do run the risk, which he's already having trouble with those moderate Republicans, maybe even some conservative-leaning Democrats who may say, I like certain economic policies that conservatives may traditionally support. You're going to have a difficult time reaching out to some of those individuals.
So a couple other things that played out over this weekend that kind of play into this strongman theme. One of them, I'm going to show you two different things. One of them is something that happens at most Trump rallies. Another seems to have been unique to what happened over the weekend, or at least this is what he said, perhaps off the cuff, unclear, over the weekend. First, about the press and how they are criminals. Watch.
I watch these criminals back there, the press. Look at them. Look at how many of them. That's a lot of people. We need a free and fair press, and they're totally wise to you. You know, the people are wise to these people. And I'm not saying all of them. I'd say about 94.2% are bad.
94.2% are bad. Of course, let's just be clear. Donald Trump is more than happy to use the press for his own ends on a regular basis. But this is something that we see regularly at Trump rallies. It is a version of the Star-Spangled Banner that glorifies people who've been arrested because they participated in the riot at the Capitol on January 6th. Listen to this.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the horribly and unfairly treated January 6th hostages.
I pledge allegiance to the flag.
So again, that's people who were arrested singing the Star-Spangled Banner as Trump recites the Pledge of Allegiance over the top. Congressman, you were at the Capitol on January 6th. What does it say to you?
It's repulsive. When I was knocking on doors for the last campaign, people routinely talked about how democracy was under threat. I'm talking about independent voters. I'm not just talking about Democrats. And when he talks in this way about the January 6th hostages, it just reminds them of why they didn't like the guy in the first place. And I think it's just another problem for him politically, but also from our standpoint as Democrats, we have to continue to talk about why democracy is on the ballot, not just Joe Biden.
Yeah. Susan, you've seen a lot in this town. I was there on January 6th, too. It had a deep impact on me at the time. And I think now that, half the country seems willing to basically, embrace some of this, or at least I shouldn't say half the country, but like the MAGA base of Donald Trump has embraced this, a completely different version of events. What should we take away from the fact that there are so many people that believe this and feel this way?
Yeah, well, lots of grievance in this country, obviously, that former President Trump has been able to tap into, which is an important thing to recognize and to try to deal with. One thing the two things that you showed, one thing that underlies both of them is the undermining of democratic institutions. Calling the January 6th defendants hostages undermines our faith in the justice system, or is aimed to undermine our faith in the justice system that has found them guilty and sent them to jail. And then calling 94.2% of American political reporters corrupt or dishonest or not to be trusted. Criminal.
Straight up criminal.
Undermines belief in another democratic institution, and that is a free press. Politicians don't like the press. They never like the press that covers them. That's true of every president, not just Donald Trump. But a belief that there is a role for a free press and a respect for the job they do is one of the things that keeps us going as a democracy.
Yeah. All right, Congressman Krishnamoorthi, thank you very much for being with us this morning. I really appreciate your time.